Welcome to American Dream Podcast. Of course, today is our premiere edition, and we are very delighted to finally be on camera to launch this particular podcast on the studio. My name is Oliver Shom, and I'm going to be your guest for today. We are on a mission to spotlight voices of impact, Cameroonians in the diaspora, starting from the United States of America, in order to bring out the best, especially to bless and inspired and empowered the young people back at home, the adults, the mature, the children growing up with dreams or aspirations. Because we believe that anybody without hope is very dangerous. And of course, when people are empowered, especially from their minds, they will become unstoppable. Therefore, our mission is to help you watching right now to be unstoppable. And today, we are so great to have our first ever physical or in person guest. And this is not anyone, but the one and only Dr. Stanley Fongod. You're welcome, Dr. Stanley.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank our viewers for tuning in as well, and everyone who will be watching this webcast subsequently.
Oh, pretty good. Yeah, thank you. I'm happy that you have the mindset of the people who will be watching us after, which we have a lot of them that will be watching us after.
Absolutely.
So, by the way, thank you so much for welcoming me in Los Angeles, California. It was such a warm reception, and I want to say thank you.
Thank you for coming to sunny California. They call it, that's how we call it.
Okay.
Sunny Southern California, and I hope you enjoy it. You like
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. I went up to the mountain and I felt like I was home. I was
Okay.
home. Thank you so much for
All
that
right.
excursion of yesterday.
Right.
So, Dr. Stanley, it's actually a short time we met, and I've had very, very, very amazing, deep conversations with you. And most of the time when I listen to you talk, you talk so much about the importance of empowering the mind, the importance of personal development, how we can transform lives of people, beginning with our own lives, if we are fully developed, if we are learned, if we are transformed by renewing our minds. So why do you believe that mindset development is very important to personal success?
Well, maybe I start by stating that one of our ancient texts, which is the Bible, says a man falls 7 times and then 7 times he rises again. And I think that the miracle is not that the man rises 7 times, it's that the man's mind did not fall in the first place. And the reality is that we have to be able to be in a space that we are able to cultivate a certain habit that allow our minds to be vulnerable and then accept those vulnerability and make sure that no matter what happens to us, we do not put ourselves in the situations where your mind tells you one thing and your body is telling you another and everyone around you is telling you another. The most competent ally that you have, the most important ally that you will have in life is your mind. If your mind absolutely quit on you, it's pretty much game over. You can become anything that you want to become. The first thing that you just need to do is to believe at the level of your mind, and then everything else you ever wanted in life will be possible.
I love that. I can connect so much what you said. That's so powerful, and I just wish our guests that tapping that, and the people watching us from around the world that tapping that. And so there is this experiment that I actually experienced. I'm not the person who did that. I watched a YouTube video, and Dr. Myerson Gordon did that. So when he was talking in one of his videos, he made a statement. He said, "Look at it. In our body, is the lower part of the body that fits, that receive instructions from the upper part of the body and then act according to what the upper part of the body is doing." And he gave a perfect example. Dr. Stanley, he said, when you're eating, what happens? You use your fork or your spoon, you carry your food, you put in your mouth. You see? So the hands are feeding the head, right? So whatever you're doing, the lower part is commanding, the upper part is commanding the lower part. And it works like when you're reading, like your hands are holding the book and then you're reading with your mind, your eyes, and your all of that.
Mhm.
When you're listening, you're actually getting information from down and then consuming from up, and that really pertains to what you said,
Right.
like mind development engineers success in every stratosphere, and I totally believe in that. So, what do you have to say to those who they focus so much, not only developing the minds by reading books and attending seminars and conferences, but they spend a lot of time doing the negative thing that are destroying the minds. Now, what? Let me give you a perfect example of this kind of activities. There are a lot of people who believe that physical beauty, body build up, to them is more important than building the mind. We are not saying that it is not good to look good. It's not good to go to the gym and do your muscles. That's all we're saying. We're saying that before you do that, it is good to equip your mind.
Mhm.
And we're saying, what is the importance of focusing more on mind development over building your muscles and other activities?
Well, I think that first of all, even building your muscle is also a component of the mind.
Okay.
You really cannot even lift weight if there is not that commitment to what the outcome is going to be. So if you are trying to be able to lift weights, you want to become buffed, you want to have some real muscles. The first day you go to the gym, you are going to face some severe obstacles, especially if you do not look in shape at all. Have you realized that most people who are out of shape basically just give up going to the gym, not because of the weight, but what they are fighting is the psychological impact that they have as a result of how people were going to look at them. If you have somebody who is intensely overweight, being in a gym environment, it's in antithesis to exactly what the culture of the gym basically is. But nobody sees to forget that the reason why you're there in the first place is because you're trying to whip your body into shape. And obviously, you didn't come there because you were in shape. You came there because you were out of shape and you're trying to be in shape. But the first battle to win, okay, once you get to the gym, is not to lift the first weight, is to overcome this phobia or this fear that by the time you show up in the gym, someone is going to basically look at you and say, you don't belong here. And they don't have to tell you that. They just have to look at you, and then you look at yourself and you draw the conclusion that this place is not for me. So I tell you the truth, and I think that there's this conversation between where I am and where I have to be. Right. So where you are right now, for example, using the gym, analogy, is that you're in the place where you're totally overweight, okay, completely fat, and you are struggling to be able to be in shape. But the truth of the matter is that the progress you're looking for is not going to happen overnight. You're not just going to wake up and then suddenly you have this buff up body and you're totally in shape. And the difficulty, especially at the level of the mind, is that you will struggle to see progress, and progress is absolutely just a pure illusion as a result of where you are and where you are now and what you're trying to see now. So what I totally suggest, even trying to be able to work up at the level of your minds, is that you basically break that stuff up, maybe like into a 10-step program or 10-step progress that you're able to measure. Because the very first winnable, measurable progress for anybody who is trying to lose weight is just to show up. Just show up. All right. Forget about the dumbbells, forget about running the treadmill, forget about doing any of that stuff. Just show up to the gym, right? I mean, if you can just show up to the gym, that's what I'm saying. Show up to the gym and sit down and do nothing and then go back home. Because believe me, that in itself, it's a measurable, winnable, attainable objective towards this milestone that you're looking at. And you have to be able to measure progress in increments rather than just this complete yacht that you're looking at. Because if that was going to be the case, I guarantee you nobody would do anything. So I believe that to have a mind that is fully functional, you have to be able to have that understanding that irrespective of whatever you're looking at, you must win in increments.
I love that. And that is actually bringing that conversation to something we started discussing yesterday about the environment, the power of the environment. Right. You notice that if you are suffering, if you have obesity and you find yourself in an environment where you are the only one who is obese, you will love to do everything to cut down your weight.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you're somebody who does not love reading books, which I'm not one, and I think you're not one, when you find yourself in a neighborhood or in a household where everybody reads. Before you notice, you grab your own book and you start reading. And
Right.
it even happened when I was flying down here to Los Angeles. I had a friend. I just met the guy.
Mhm.
He's a basketball player.
Mhm.
So he had his book he was reading. So I had my books. My book I was reading. So I started reading my book. So the guy was kind of trying to take some nap.
Mhm.
So he slept a little bit, got up.
Mhm.
The first time he saw me reading, second he saw me reading, third time he saw me. Then he picked up his book, he started reading,
Mhm.
and it happens in every aspect of life.
Mhm.
So how can you use that aspect of environment,
Mhm.
how external environment affect or impact our lives positively or negatively, to talk to a young person watching us right now from Africa or from Cameroon, from Zambia, from United States, on the importance of situating yourself, finding yourself at whatever time with the right people in order to help you achieve your goals and make the world better.
A couple of years ago, I have a friend who is a Jewish guy. He's a financier. He's quite wealthy,
Okay.
and so he invited me to Beverly Hills, and not far from here. And I went out there and met with him, and he began, just we were talking on something, and then so he began bragging a little, and he was telling me how the Jews basically run stuff around here. I mean, talking about Beverly Hills for that matter. That's where the studios and everything is, and then he said something to me which was quite fascinating. So I now began researching and asking him a lot of questions, and I came to realize that we have this little tiny fallacy that says that the reason why the Jews are so blessed is because they are God's favorite, or one of that garbage. The reality is that you need to understand the hard work,
Mm,
and you need to understand the formation, how they basically bring up their own household. So these are guys who basically breathe, live, and talk money. He told me outrightly he can be able to raise up 150 million US dollars in 1 hour right there.
oh wow.
All right. And ask me, what can your community do? Absolutely nothing. And the reason is because they have that culture, and it begins from infancy. And so they begin to train themselves to do one thing, all right, and then train themselves to do another. And then before you know what's happening, they have this close knit community that is financially stable. And it started as a result of them basically incremental growth. They began doing one thing and then became better at it. They kind of really make sure that works very well, and then move to the next thing. Environment is extremely very important. I think that if you look in our African context, you'll soon discover that if you house a house, if you came from a household where people were educated, parents were educated, or they were maybe into medicine, you'll soon discover that everyone probably in that house gravitates towards
Yeah,
medicine, or they
absolutely.
gravitates towards law, or whatever engineering, or whatever stuff that is, because
Yeah.
of the influence of the environment in which we are in. But for someone who basically did not come from that particular space, it's not an excuse for you not to develop yourself. 10 years, a decade is enough time for anybody to become anything that they want to become. A decade. Which means you have to do personal development. And that's why meeting people like you is extremely very important. You're a speaker, you train people, all right? And then you also not just train people to become speakers, but you actually build them to become whatever stuff they want to be, and occupy any space that they want to occupy in life, which is extremely valuable. And for me, I think that if you're just able to do that, and do that consistently, then you can truly become anything. And it doesn't really matter whether you're from that particular household, or you can build my point is, you can build the environment, you can create the environment, and you can make the environment that you're in right now. You are not locked into that particular environment. You can win and become extremely successful in that environment, because you can be in an environment but not of that environment, by creating an environment that is your own, by the books, the videos, and everything else that surrounds you.
That becomes very interesting, Dr. Stanley. Now, before then, I want to say hi shout to Star Daddy, John Ita, a good friend and a partner, even to this podcast. He's doing an amazing job, incredible, like so amazing, like building communities of people who can save and then get done there. So, environment. So let's look at it this way, right? A lot of people are listening to us right now, and right from infancy to adolescent, youth, they're getting to adulthood right now. Throughout, the environment has been very toxic, very unfriendly, and unintuitive. And they want to bring their own environment out of the environment, like you talked about, and they keep on suffocating. The moment they want to rise, something is like shut down. The moment we like, it's connecting to kind of a story that you shared with me, but I don't want to talk about that for now, as probably we'll bring it at the end of the conversation. You want to rise and then you like shut down. Don't try. This person tried fail, so it's not you that's going to make it. What do you have to say to such a person who has a dream, who believes, who has the greed, and anytime he's trying to make effort or she's trying to make effort, like there are some forces that they bring him back or they bring her back. To somebody listening right now who is striving at all costs to drive, what do you have to say? What are the 3 steps that everybody listening to us right now can start practicing or put into place to create their own environments inside the environments that are not favorable for their growth and for their visions?
That what we call difficulties is actually blessings,
Mm,
and that diamonds are not
mm,
shipped as postcards.
okay. Mm,
All right. So
mm,
if I was going to send a 5 carat diamond to
mm,
you,
mm,
all right, it's not coming by the post office, bro.
mm,
I'm not going to wrap that stuff like a t-shirt.
mm,
A 5 carat diamond worth maybe about 4 or 5 million US dollars is going to
mm.
come, with brinks.
Okay.
All right. A particular agency would have to bring that stuff to you.
Mm,
I'm not going to ship it like it's a postcard. What that means is that what is of value, it's not wrapped up in easy to break packages.
mm,
So most of us are diamonds in the rough, and it takes a little bit of cutting.
mm.
It takes a little bit of work to be able to unveil that value that is locked up within you.
Okay.
And most often at times it's uncomfortable. And
Mm,
that's why most of the doors basically get slammed on your face. You get fired.
yeah.
You try this. Nobody says, people are like, you know what, we don't want you. That's okay.
Mhm.
The reason is because you have not exposed your value
Mm,
long enough for whoever is trying to hire you to find utility in you.
mm,
But the moment you begin to work on yourself and you work on your craft,
yeah.
and then sooner or later you'll realize that people start looking for you. You don't have to look for people. And the
Mm.
reason is the diamonds is no longer in the rough, bro.
Oh.
It's the diamond now. The cutting has taken place, the
Mm.
polishing has taken place. It was painful though.
Mhm.
But then after this pain
Mhm.
stands the most beautiful stone you have ever seen.
I love that, man. It's like you're talking to me. So, what do we do at that stage? Now, you're indirectly telling me that, or telling the audience that the moment you are in constant search for opportunities to do what you love to do, you feel you're born to do, it is a sign that you have not yet really uncovered the diamond. Is that what you're saying?
No, no, the journey is important.
Okay.
This is primarily based upon rejection.
Mhm.
You know you're a diamond anyway.
Yeah.
So your search for relevance,
Mhm.
it's probably maybe what is more it's a little bit more important to you at the moment. Like you're trying to basically gain recognition. You want
Mhm.
people to know you, so
Mhm.
you're getting frustrated because the doors
Yeah.
are not opening.
Mhm.
That is a wrong. You're basically asking a wrong question,
Mhm.
because the right question is not about how relevant you are.
Mhm.
The right question is if you are full of the capacities and the potentials that you carry.
Okay.
Because the evaluation as to your gifting is not going to come from you.
Okay.
There's no diamond in the world that self-evaluate.
Other people need to evaluate, do the
Obviously,
evaluation and vet.
obviously.
I love that. So, how do somebody know that my diamond has been uncovered and it is time for me to fully play in?
That time never comes.
Mm.
People will identify the timing,
Mm.
and then people will find you.
Mm.
So when the only thing that you have to basically look for is exposure,
Okay.
because it doesn't matter if you take a 5 carat piece of polished diamond and you throw it among rocks.
Mm.
You don't need a trained eye
Mm.
once it's been polished to
Mm.
identify greatness,
Mm.
which means that once you've been polished, everyone will come looking for you. What we are struggling with is when we are still in the rough, unpolished.
Mm.
If I put diamonds here that is unpolished and I ask you if these diamonds, you'll be like, you don't know.
Mm.
I mean, if I
Yeah,
kept that
absolutely.
stuff, you probably would throw that stuff
Mhm.
away, but not knowing that you're looking at real value.
Mm.
But after the polishing,
Mm.
then everyone can identify. So the gift that you have, even as a speaker and a trainer, is to be able to identify diamonds before they get polished.
I love that. Yeah, that's I
Exactly.
think we'll be doing that so well.
Exactly.
Right. So what do you tell the person watching us right now who is still in the uncovering phase of his or her diamond?
Mhm.
And at times many quit along the way. You agree with me on that?
Of course.
Many thousands, millions, billions, they quit along the way. What do you have to tell the people watching us and they are in the process of uncovering the diamonds but were to discover it and they're like, this is too painful. I can't bear the pains again.
That you have to do whatever it takes to die in the process of on uncovering and searching for meaning.
Okay.
Because you have to understand meaning. And the reason why meaning is very important is because once you fully know exactly what you're born to do, once you know that this is the one thing that brings you the most maximum amount of joy, you will do whatever it takes to be able to achieve this dream. That's you actually understanding meaning.
Okay.
Now, once that's done, then all the other obstacles that you have along the way means absolutely nothing. You know without a shadow of a doubt that what you carry is of value. And so if you meet obstacles along the way, you treat them as opportunities to know how not to do things in the future. All right. And sometimes some of those obstacles just basically means maybe this grand architect of the universe, e.g., God, is trying to be able to prevent you, okay, from basically being with people that you really have no business being with them. So sometimes the obstacles you face is actually your own, it's working in your favor as opposed to something that is basically, working anti you. But in the moment, you might be like, man, I don't like this. But it's okay.
Yeah, that's right. Because I had people that later on they called me, they told me that some years ago they felt like they wanted to help me do some stuff, but something to them that they should not. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to understand what it means. And I'm like, go ahead, please. And they're like, well, that was to your favor. They said, if we could have helped you, maybe giving you those platforms you needed then could have spoiled you. And that's why we just allowed you to grow. Right? And that's so powerful. And this is one thing that people also need to understand listening to us. At times, the opportunities you desire, you crave, you yearn for might not come. And it's actually protecting you because when the opportunities come and you're at that stage where you are, you can destroy your entire career. You really fire up.
Absolutely.
And so this is so thank you so much, Doc, for bringing that. Now, looking at there's a concept in psychology called the mimetic realism. When you put two kids here and you give them two different toys, at a certain point, if you watch keenly, one of them will just abandon his or hers and then start pursuing the other kid, like fighting together to get the toy. And that when you look in the adult life, even in the real life, you see that happens a lot. A lot of people just start fighting with other people and envying other people and being jealous of other people, how well they are doing in what they are doing, their craft, but they don't know the process. They don't know the nights they have spent sleeplessly trying to perfect it. But again, they have theirs. They have kept behind and they're really doing much or little about it. So what do you have to say on because we're talking about developing the mind to become unstoppable? What do you have to say on the importance of not focusing on others? How X is winning in football, how Y is winning in this other industry in tech, but focusing on ourselves and asking ourselves the right questions. What do I have to offer? What best can I do? Who best can I work with? What do you have to say to the people watching us right now? Because we have a lot of people who tend to compare themselves to each other, and that leads to frustration because the end result is definitely going to be jealousy, envy, and you never know where this can lead to. It can lead to murder. So what do you have to tell the people watching us on the importance of focusing on self and then working out from inside out, please?
I think the biggest problem is that a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to impress people that they have no business impressing. And the only reason why they do that is because psychologically they are in a place where they are searching for relevance and they're searching for meaning. So when you have somebody who, it's obviously looking at another person.
Yeah.
The only reason why they're looking at another person is because they have lost, since forgotten to look at themselves.
Mm.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, and the reason is because you see somebody who is quite gifted in doing something in
Yeah.
another space does not mean that you are not that gifted in the space in which
Exactly.
you are in. So the difference is that that particular person has gone through, the shining process. They've gone through the cutting process, the polishing process, and now they're shining. But meanwhile, you have abandoned all of those processes that you needed to go through, and you're here being jealous because some other person else is gifted. So it's like this. It's like you're working in the bank, and then somebody walks over to you and tell you that, you know what, you shouldn't really be here. But you're like, well, I like being in this bank, and it's okay. You're hired to be in the bank, and while you're in that bank, you're basically, working for them, doing everything that you have to do. Eventually, you go into research. Eventually, you start bringing new ideas on how they can be able to improve the number of products that they have in the banking sector. And then sooner or later, the bank, becomes a major bank, a regional bank, and everyone starts talking about the bank, and you are basically an upper level manager in that particular bank. But what you do not understand is that you have been a bank owner all along. And the only reason is because you were looking at another person, trying to mimic them, trying to become like them. You see, I am the only one who have ever existed as me. And long after I'm gone, there will be nobody else as me. That leaves me the one and only bona fide, okay, to be able to show up in my space and become me, so relevant as me that there is nobody else on this planet Earth and ever has been, ever will be. That is me. That is me. So what you're seeing in this moment is past, present, and future all locked up in me, because the past is totally irrelevant. The future is totally irrelevant. What is part of us is now, and that is me. So my future, my past is locked up in one. So I have to be able to make sure that, so because I cannot look at you and try to be you, because if I look at you and try to be you, I mortgage my tomorrow, because my tomorrow is locked up in this moment. Okay, so I'm here, it's under me. So I have to be able to make sure that I fulfill my today by investing in my today, because I fully understand that this me today, I will have a conversation with me tomorrow. And I don't want to have that conversation with me tomorrow, telling my tomorrow that I was distracted because of your momentary success, which has nothing to do with me. I'm grateful for what you've done. I'm excited how much money you have. I'm excited with all the things that you're doing. But believe me, this lane is my lane. And this me is me. And I have to be able to give an account to me tomorrow. And I don't want to face me tomorrow with the regrets of these momentary distractions that is called you. I celebrate you though, but me, I have to be me. So I cannot jump from this lane to your lane, because I see what you're doing. I see the spotlight. I see how you're shining. That's great. That's good. That's phenomenal. But I have an appointment with myself tomorrow.
I love
That's
that.
important.
I love that. And when you begin to think like that, you will love and celebrate those people.
Obviously.
And that's how you connect to that kind of grace. And I just realized that when people are angry, jealous, envious, they're always stagnant in life. No matter the effort they make to succeed,
You have to.
they are always like in a cage. Because that mindset, that mentality, that emotion, that energy, that negative energy cage you into mediocrity.
Right.
And you remain just in one spot.
Right.
And then those who love to celebrate others, they make progress because
Right.
the energy flows. Doc, you have a PhD and you're doing another PhD. And at times, a lot of people ask questions, right? Why do people go to school to the level of masters and PhDs? But yet, they suffocate at times financially. They struggle to pay bills, right? They struggle to create ideas and activities, projects that can give them money with all of that knowledge. Now, is it that their minds have not been built, or they have not actually been educated, or they've gone through the school and the school have not gone through them? So what is the idea behind people with wealth school? Bro.
Because wealth creation is not a function of a PhD or any of that stuff. If that was the case, the biggest billionaires will be in Harvard. There'll be those lecturing in Harvard. There'll be those at UCLA. There'll be those in Stanford. There'll be those in Cornell. All right. You don't have that. I think that financial empowerment is a whole separate conversation in terms of how you can be able to, make money. And most often at times, I think that in pursuit of money, we lose the most important pursuit, which is the pursuit of fulfillment, finding the reason to which you were born, understanding why you came onto this dimension, understanding why the great architect of this entire cosmos placed you here, so that while you're here, you can fully experience all that you came here to do. And then I believe that within that space, you can be able to achieve whatever stuff that you need to achieve. But you basically has to do something. It's like being in one of our Pentecostal churches, and then you say you are a prayer warrior, or you are one of those people who basically just spend time praying. All right. The guy who is praying still has to collect money from me, okay, or from you, because they need to eat. But they are praying for you, though, that you will become successful. But then in the prayer for you to become successful, you have to give the money, because their successful prayer has not successfully helped them get money.
Okay, so what's the missing link? Now, what's the missing link? Is it that what would take some of these people to create jobs for themselves? To help themselves to be maybe financially stable and live the happiest life they have always wanted to live, is not being taught in school?
No, it's not being taught in school. So if that was going to be the case, then someone like Warren Buffett, someone like Microsoft founder, whatever his name is, Bill Gates, and then all of these people like Elon Musk, they will have completed school.
Okay, I get the point. So now, how do we blend it? How do we blend the education with the wealth creation?
Then we have to separate education from certification.
Oh.
Right? So certification means absolutely nothing. Right? So I got a couple of certifications. Yeah, so what? Education is basically, once you've stopped going to class, that's when schooling really begins. Which is basically you being self-taught, basically you studying the most you can, reading, attending seminars, and getting through books, doing whatever stuff you have to do. That's where education really is. And it is within that particular space, and you doing other things with understanding, money, understanding the market, understanding the financial world, that you are able to make money. And also you're able to just find fulfillment in life.
Yeah.
So for me, it's we have to be able to make sure, because we can drive people, to go ahead and have multiple PhDs, and that doesn't really mean anything in terms of financial empowerment. All right, it just simply means that you know a whole lot about a whole lot. All right. And sometimes you can be useful in the space in which you know a whole lot. But that also does not mean that because you know a whole lot in one particular space, suddenly you are that gifted intellectual in all other spaces. I think you need to read Thomas Sowell's book, Intellectuals and Society. All right. So intellectual is very important, because sometimes, for example, someone like Barack Hussein Obama shows up and he's the president of the United States of America. He knows nothing about medicine. Someone like Bill Gates, very good in computer stuff. He knows nothing about medicine. But those are the guys who are lecturing us on every single thing that's in between. Just because you are gifted in that particular space has nothing to do with the fact that you know other spaces, because you are not certified within those spaces.
I get it. So when you mean, Bill Gates, for instance, right? Bill Gates, this guy is a very he made a very successful career in computing. I remember his story when I was reading the book Alias. His story is well stated there. How he started in 1975 with his friend Paul Allen and the founder of Microsoft. There was a window of that opportunity that we seized it, and eventually Bill Gates became one of the richest person in the world, which we all know that. Now, Bill Gates. So when you say they have no knowledge in medicine, for instance, what do you exactly mean, please?
I'm saying that there is a big problem in society where you have people who are educated, certificated in one particular space, and they have become so prolific in that space, and then they have these ungodly tendency to be able to show up in other spaces and then try to influence society in those spaces. What I'm saying is that is, that's that's not the thing. So you have to you have to stay where you are.
Mhm.
But then that also does not mean that you don't know a whole lot about other spaces
Yeah.
too, but you do.
And
But you
right,
can no longer be the authority or the voice that
Mhm.
people have to listen to so far as those other spaces are concerned.
Mhm.
Reasons being, that's not, you know, I mean, we
That's not your
respect
space, yeah.
the 40, 50 years,
Mhm.
okay, that you have given us,
Mhm.
all right, in the space in which you're in. And frankly speaking, I think the world is grateful for it.
I love
But when
that.
it comes to other spaces,
Mhm.
be quiet.
Okay, cool. So look, this is very interesting. This is a very interesting conversation, and I hope the people watching us that actually getting inspired and blessed, because the objective is for you to jump out of this podcast and start doing something with your life that can help you
Mhm.
and help the family. I was having a conversation the other day with Bruno, and he said, "What you are born to do on earth, what you came here to do,
Mhm.
the resources you have been given by God, the universe, by your ancestors, your parents, your great parents. If you don't do something with that, you're supposed to be arrested and jailed." I don't forget about that statement, and it really makes a lot of sense to me. And I also learned that when the life opportunities comes in windows, so if you miss some particular opportunities in 2025, they may never come back again.
No, they will never.
And so might even come like in 2050 if you miss them today. And it means that people need to be sensitive enough to be able to sense or feel this, that this is my thing, this is my opportunity, this is the connection I have to make. What do you have to say on the importance of how can someone listen to us now position himself or herself in a very strategic style, in such a way that the opportunities that are meant for her or for him to get, that would take them from point A to B or from D to E, should actually come and they recognize that this is it and go get them.
So you probably should be reading there's a lot of guys out there who basically talk a lot in this space of trying to be able to tell us where society is going, where the future is,
Exactly.
where technology is going.
Mhm.
And this is quite painful for me, because in 2004,
Mhm.
in the Georgia Dome, I think Atlanta, Georgia,
Mhm.
okay, I was with someone back then, and we were able to for the first time
Mhm.
in the history of the church, the
Mhm.
Kojic, the Church of God in Christ,
Mhm.
we streamed them live on the internet
Mm.
for the first time. 2004. YouTube did not exist.
Mm.
The latter part of that year, I contacted a Cameroonian who since passed
Mhm.
to, and God forbid, as a matter of fact, I regretted ever doing that, to create for me a platform
Mhm.
where I could just be able to allow different churches
Mhm.
and different people to upload videos.
Mm.
And so he collected the money and basically vanished.
Oh no.
Didn't do anything. And even the ones who want him to do sabotage a whole lot of stuff, and eventually the guy died many years ago.
Mm.
But this is long before YouTube.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Long before YouTube. So the universe, the entire cosmos is constantly breeding informations into the consciousness
Mm.
of mankind. And when you have that opportunity for to be able to be that receptive antenna that somewhat capture this signal coming in from
Yeah.
the cosmos, you need to be gracious enough and
Mm.
humble enough to tenaciously just pursue that dream and then have it. Because believe me, if you think you're the only one with that idea, you're crazy.
Mm.
You are not. It's who shows up first in the marketplace.
I love that, Doc. See, what can someone do right now to show up first in the marketplace?
Act right now
Mm.
on the dreams and the visions that you have.
Mm.
Right?
Mhm.
Act right now
Oh.
on the dreams and the visions that you have.
Mm.
There's something. Hold on, let me see if I can turn.
Mm.
I have something. Hold on a second. You know what that is?
No. Invent her.
Yes. Now, this is a door lock, a lock for a door
Mhm.
that I designed, developed.
Oh.
When I met these fellows,
Mhm.
and they kind of created what I wanted.
Okay.
You wrote the whole entire project together.
Mhm.
All right.
Oh wow.
We wrote the whole entire project, did every
Mhm.
single thing else.
Mhm.
I invented that, created that.
Wow.
But as I'm talking to you, everybody else
Mhm.
they have it now. I see this everywhere.
Wow.
And obviously, all I had to do
Mhm.
was to leave this place and go over to China. That's all I
Yeah,
had to do.
that's right.
If I had just gone to China,
Mm,
I know they're going to basically, take a lot of stuff with me, but believe me,
Mm.
we have done this stuff as a partnership.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But right now, I see my luck.
Indoors around the world.
Yeah, I've seen. I looked at the whole thing. I said, "This is my invention."
Oh.
I mean, there's nothing. I've looked. I was like, "This is my invention."
Mm.
All right, but that's what happens. So once you have the idea,
Yeah.
you don't wait. You go.
Yeah. That's. I think that's one of my superpowers. Like I don't waste.
Yeah, once you have it, you go.
I just
There's
go.
no need for you to wait.
Wow. This is so and this is so amazing. And I remember this guy. I'm forgetting his name. He's one of the richest Black Americans. Tall, huge guy, just like you. He actually bought the project. The guy who invented here, he bought the project and straight to China.
Exactly.
And boom. And I think the guy is a very powerful guy. And I think that's a great lesson. And it's about taking action. Taking action. And most of the actions you even take before you're figuring out what's the next.
Man, you need to move.
What's the next plan?
It's that you jump, you learn how to fly along the way.
I love that.
You just need to go.
Yeah, you just have to go. You just have to go. And this is a great lesson for those who are watching us right now and even those who will be watching after. Like, what is that dream you got? Some people naturally they are pessimists.
Yeah.
They are procrastinators. I mean, most of these people are people who some of them are regarded as perfectionists. Until it is perfectly, neatly interwoven, wired, put together, they are not going to do it.
No.
So they want justification. It must be proven with all the steps laid out before they take action. And most of the time, before you notice, someone has already taken the first shot. And that is it. And that is it. And it's so cool. And I believe that creation, even the Bible says in Genesis, for those who are Christian watching, in Genesis chapter 1, 26, 27, that God created us in his image and likeness to co-create with him. And one of the primary obligatory of man is to create.
Right.
And the men who create stuff, they're those who are actually leading the world, if you do your research. And that is a character trait that has been embedded in us from birth. And when you're creating, you're just exercising actually your true son of man nature.
Right.
You say son of man.
Right.
Awesome. That's great.
No, that is good. I think that in more ways, what you're saying, it's especially if you get the book of Genesis, I think there's something which is quite interesting. It says that after God has created man, then he rested.
Yeah.
And the notion is, was he tired?
No.
Because if he's in this immaterial space or this immaterial world, which is quite metaphysical, then that simply means that whatever it is that we measure as tiredness in terms of work and pressure and all of that stuff does not apply to him. So how does he get tired? And I think it's quite true, because the only reason for him saying that he rested was the fact that he stopped working or he stopped inventing, because there was no need to invent anymore, because a huge deposit or a repository, the blueprint for all of life, mankind's invention was deposited in man, and Adam being a de facto of the whole man should be, which means that we, each and every one of us, we are Einsteins, we are, the Zuckerbergs, we are, the Elon Musk, we are everything that we can be. It is only in us being able to harness this potential, this capacity that is trapped within us, which is the biggest battle that we have. All right, it's because we know, I know you're gifted. I know you are. I know I'm gifted. But the difficulty is to unlock what is it that I carry. And so the more information I'm exposed to, then whatever I have becomes a reality.
This is interesting. I listened to the story of Tony Robbins' daughter. So while in elementary school, Tony pulled out the daughter from school. The daughter was doing well in college. And so he pulled out the daughter from college. And he asked the daughter, what were you telling us you wanted to do when you grew up? The daughter said, dancing and doing all of this stuff. And he said, that is what you have to do first. College can wait. This can wait. He had his friend who was a good coach in teaching kids how to dance, all of that. And so he called his friends like, this is what I'm thinking to do for my daughter. And the coach was like, yeah, Tony, that sounds like a good idea. Can you be able to coach my daughter to be the best of the dancer she has ever loved to be? And the coach said, of course, I can do that. I've been doing that for so many people around the world. So I can do that for your daughter. And then Tony was like, how am I going to convince my daughter that I wanted to hold on with college and focus on this thing? And somehow Tony Robbins found a formula or a framework that worked. So he had a conversation with the coach. And so he called the coach. And immediately after he dropped the call, he called the daughter. And then he spoke to the daughter, and the daughter was like, Dad, how am I going to do that? How are we going to do that? I'm like, don't bother. There's already somebody who's ready to work with you. And immediately he linked them up, and the coach called the daughter. And that's how the daughter had to hold on with college and went in for training. And they brought her in a particular state where the best of the best dancer, because the daughter was doing well in school, even as dancer, while in college.
Right.
But Tony said something I would never forget. He said, if you're born to be the best dancer, you're not supposed to be competing with those who were never meant to be dancers. And in an environment where it's not where dancers are supposed to be.
Right.
But he had to bring the daughter to the real school of dancing, where people travel from all around the world to come to the United States to learn how to dance, to practice that choreography. And that was where he expected the daughter to practice and rehearse her dancing. Guess what? The daughter finally did that training, and she became one of the best. And on the day of her graduation, she surprised the dad, Tony Robbins, by inviting him and then hiring a limousine that would pick him from the airport to the final occasion. So when Tony arrived at the occasion, there were so many people there. He almost started just crying because the daughter was given the best prize. And you're like, the investment was actually worth it. So what do you have to say to the people watching us here? Now, we have a lot of the Tony Robbins watching us. We have the daughters kind of people watching us. We have the coaches kind of people watching us. You might be watching us now. You are the daughter. You have the talent. You might be also watching us. You are the father figure. You have a daughter. You have a son that is so talented. But you know that this school that is doing this or she's doing this, after you need an employment. But you want the child to go through the school process. But again, you know that if this child can give a 3 years shot into this thing full time, 24/7, this child will become one of the best and sponsor the rest of the family members. And maybe you are the coach. You know that this child has talent. It's not your child, but you believe that if you can invest in this particular child, this child will become the best in the world. So please talk to these 3 people on why they have to do what they have to do.
No, so I think it's Miles Monroe who said that the richest place in the world is not the diamond fields of South America, neither is it the gold mines in the Americas,
Saudi Arabia,
or the oil fields in Saudi Arabia. It's actually the graveyard. It is the cemetery. You see, I say that each time I see a hearse, carrying a casket to the grave, what I need to see is a U-Haul truck or a 40-foot container trailing the hearse, because in reality, we need to go to have a representation. Please, can you say that
again? Maybe so many people did not get.
Yeah, so I'm saying that each time I see a hearse, this car that carries the casket, as it's going to the cemetery, we need to be able to place a U-Haul truck, or a 40-foot container behind the hearse, because that too must go to the grave. The reason is because it is useless to us. Those are those man's dreams, those are his visions, those are the books, those are the seminars, those are the inventions that will never have expression in life because the career of that invention died as a thief. Because the greatest crime you can ever commit, just like our friend said, the greatest crime you can ever commit is to show up into this dimension and then exit this dimension with what you were supposed to deposit in this dimension. That's the greatest crime you can ever commit. So in reality, it is as evil as anything else that you basically came to life and you exited this life with zero impact, doing nothing. not even planting a flower, not even basically showing up somewhere and say, I'm going to be able to at least improve, modify, just do something that is meaningful to push our civilization forward. Wherever we are in our civilization is an aggregate of human development over time. Every civilization building on another civilization. The greatest problem we have is that we have not come to that consciousness of a particular place where we want to be as a race. And that is where we have our greatest difficulty, because the greatest objective in life is that each and every one of us must align together to know exactly where we're taking our civilization to. What is the end goal? What is this utopia that we should build? And if that was going to be the case, what is your quota? What are you doing as part of this grand agenda for us to move as we can smoothly into this place that we should be? And that simply means whatever I do, I'm doing my own as an increment to this great gigantic thing. It's like a puzzle. I'm just a part of that puzzle. If I can fit accurately in this grand puzzle, then the picture emerges better. The reality is this: you must look at yourself from a not a low resolution thinking, but from a high resolution thinking, because there has to be that way in which you look at things detailedly. But because we have lost that art of looking at things detailedly, being quite detailed oriented in a lot of things that we do, we now live a life where you just want to do a little bit more. And as long as you get paid for it, everything is okay. I'm not trying to get paid. I'm trying to be the best I can be.
Amazing. I noticed that. Wow. This is so deep, man. Okay, this is interesting, right? You tickle a lot of things when you're talking in my brain. And so the question, Nelson Mandela, right? Mother Teresa, right? All of these great guys in the world, you notice that what they were doing, it was not for a salary.
No.
It was a way that they were trying to give back. And they never even believed that this could make them this famous. And it just happened.
Obviously.
What is the importance of prioritizing impact, adding value to people's lives, contributing without the mindset of getting paid or compensation? How is that important to the people watching us in order to achieve their dreams? Because I noticed that at times you need to work for 10 years, like I did, like 5 years, without any salary. And then to be sure that you have done the assignment, and then it flows. The money will just flow naturally. What do you have to say as a message, as caution, as warning to the people who want to get the kind of result they are craving for? But again, they want it overnight, but they're not ready to pay the price to get it. And they're also mitigating strategies on how they can even balance their lives, at least have a minimal allowance money to survive, to take care of themselves. Why the bill on that, please?
I think that the greatest achievement anyone can have in life, it's only possible at the point of death.
Wow.
So we have these momentary celebrations that basically becomes a major detour to this grand agenda that the cosmos has for each and every one of us. I'm a Christian, so the as a follower of Christ, I and also actually lost my faith in Christ a couple of years ago, and came back. But as a follower of Christ and somebody who has studied Christianity, isn't it interesting that the greatest ethic or the greatest achievement, okay, in looking at it from all angles, philosophically, psychologically, the greatest thing that Christ did was not to live, was to die. So, which basically means that if you really want to talk about success and how successful you have become, we do not begin to measure how successful you are when you're still among us. We begin to measure how successful you are when you're no longer with us. And the reason is because, frankly speaking, you have come to the end of the road. I'm not trying to celebrate you, when I do not know how far you can go.
Mm.
And I think that, if you look at the archetype, which is basically the overlay of how society or how things are structured, you will soon discover that, that's exactly what we do. We basically celebrate people, when they're no longer with us. Someone
Yeah.
like Martin Luther King,
Mm.
who is talked about, especially among African Americans, like there's no tomorrow, was never celebrated among his people. He was one of the most hated person in the Black community.
Mm.
But everybody talking about King, Dr. King, Dr. King, Dr. King, but he was not that celebrated, So I think that the measure of a man's life, of a man's wealth, it comes when we look at you, when you have basically exited. I think that's when we basically have some kind of a retrospect where we can look at you and look at ourselves and say, you paid the ultimate price. You did what you were supposed to do. And the only way we judge that is when we put ourselves in the man's shoes. How many of us will truly want to be king? How many of us will truly want to be Mother Teresa? How many of us will truly want to be Nelson Mandela? I have no 25 years to spend in no Robben's Island, bro. I'm not going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm not going.
that's
I rejected the military because I don't want to be a hero, bro. I'm not trying to have AK-47 bullets flying over my head. I'm not trying to have that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, but most of us, will say, oh, things can happen, that can happen, and all of that stuff. But the reality is that it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So we have to be able to understand that success and being able to create real impact will mean that we are not out for pleasure. We are not out for applause. That, men celebrating us is totally useless in this grand scheme of who we are, because in reality, we are not interested, because we are not going to be here anyway when the applause begins to, when the clapping starts. When Christ dies and it was over, while the whole entire universe, understanding what was happening, began to applaud, there is no applause. He's not here. He's not hearing anything. So the reality is that I think that each and every one of us must live our lives knowing man very well that we have to do all that we have to do, be the best version of ourselves. And by the time that we die, there's no other version that is possible. Let that version that you die will be the last version that could be possible, because there's no other possible version after that. That would be the highest ethic.
Wow. That's breaking limits and breaking barriers. This is so interesting. What's the role of spirituality in developing the mind?
You have to believe that there is someone who is above everyone. So I do not believe sincerely that we are random in the universe. I think that the complexity of the universe basically tells me that there is someone who basically set things in order, who basically set things up in such a way that if you look at the cosmos, if you look at this world, if you look at where we are, the privileged position we are in our planetary system, 1 degree off, we are dead. 1 degree the other way, we are dead. Too hot, too cold. All right. We are just uniquely placed in a place where life is possible. I don't think that all of that stuff is random. Right. And so on those bases, I am a big time believer that there is someone out there, and there's someone out there who basically set things in motion. There is too much order in a lot of things that we consider to be chaos. There's too much order, and you cannot have that so much order out of chaos. All right. So there's too much order. Our DNA tells a different story completely. I think that the structure of the universe in itself tells a separate story. Everything seems to be so perfectly aligned, and the notion that we are random basically makes any sense. So call me an idiot, call me a fool if I say I believe that God exists. I'm okay with that. That being said, I also do believe that if we're going to talk about if you're going to try to be able to find any real meaning in this life, there has to be someone or something that basically forms the basis. And I think that the mind in itself will only as much as become stable if there is some kind of a balancing act. And I think that the Chinese has the yin and yang. Okay, when there is the bad and the good, the negative and the positive, there has to be that balancing act, which seems to be occurring everywhere in nature. And so, because of that balancing act, I do believe that that positive energy partly comes in a person. And there are many people who have come in life and they have in different civilizations, different times in history, different dispensations, and they have talked about the fact that they might be the one. Because based upon archetype, we do believe that we are waiting for that superhero, the person who basically ends all wars, the person who basically ends all pain or suffering, because the person who shows up and deliver us from, everything that we are trapped with. But I think that the only one person who has painted that picture for me, and that is a little bit more convincing more than any other person, is the person of Christ.
I love that.
Yeah. So in that case, I think that when we start talking about spirituality, we have to be a little bit more conscious, knowing mindfully well that we can't be able to look at ourselves, knowing mindfully well that we are just spirit beings trapped out in this body. And then, but we need to be able to have a point of reference in our metaphysical outlook. Because if that was not going to be the case, I can be inspired to be one of the most ruthless killers that there have been because of my psychological and metaphysical, dispositions, as opposed to some other person else who can say, I'm going to be the best version of myself because I'm trying to be the force of good and not the force of evil. That simply means someone can say, I'm going to be the force of evil because I'm trying to stop some bad things happening in the world, or I'm going to be the force of good because I'm trying to also stop some bad things happening in the world. But there has to be a point of reference that basically brings order out of chaos. And that point of good is extremely very important. For me, that point of good is Christ. So if you're going to talk about order and talk about chaos or talk about whatever stuff that you're trying to be able to achieve in the realms of spirituality as you try to build up your own personal development, I will basically want to say that if you're really looking into that direction, maybe you want to investigate this lonely rabbi from Galilee whose name is Jesus.
I love that. The Son of Man.
I think so.
Thank you. Since 2017, you've started writing books. You've been writing before, and you started publishing. To date, you published over 7 books, and one of your latest book is this. I love this book. Esosa, Whip of Shadows. Man, now looking at your lifestyle, your mindset, you're the kind of person that you're not interested about 8 hours, 9 hours jobs. You buy your land, you do your crops cultivation in America. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like, your mindset is really, really unique to the majority. Maybe that's what I think. So what motivated you to think in that pattern instead of thinking in the other pattern?
Well, I think it's just a matter of chance. And then sometimes life throws things at you, and then, things just do happen.
Okay.
And because I have been very much interested in entrepreneurship, and my entrepreneurship journey actually started with my mom. I think that my mother was a big influence in my life. I have a brother too, who studied petrochemical engineering in Nigeria, returned back home, and was a specialist in cooking afofo. You know what afofo is?
I used to hear.
That's the local like moonshine.
Okay.
The guy was an expert in moonshine stuff.
Okay.
So he taught me a lot of things.
Okay.
And so I used to travel around, going from one village to another with a little powder in the sack. We used to go to the abattoir where they cut meat, that can meat, stuff. And then we collect where they sell meat, right? We collect the bones, bring them, burn them, grind them up, put them in little sachets, and then be selling them as something called shiny. You used to clean your teeth with it and whatnot. Yeah, I was quite young then, moving around.
Okay.
Yeah, moving around.
Nice.
And my one of my other brothers used to send me to go do that. All right, until I got quite upset because he wasn't giving me my money.
Okay.
And I reported him to my dad, and my dad was like, so why are you complaining about if you're the one doing all of the work? I was like, yeah, I get it. So I started doing this stuff. But he invented, he came up with this very elaborate laboratory behind the house in the village, and now that was where he was basically cooking, this alpha thing, the spirit, the gene thing, like moonshine in America. Yeah, he was quite good at doing that stuff, But he was a petrochemical engineer, though.
Oh, wow.
But he too was thinking about how to make money quick.
I love that.
So that basically became the formation. And then my mom had some roots in the Bambileke land, so she too sold everything in this life. I think the only thing my mother did not sell was me.
Oh,
Yeah,
and your siblings
if I
probably.
had made one mistake, now I was one with it. Yeah, she was quite good. She was quite prolific. She was an entrepreneur. So yeah, I love that. And so I have another sister too who is very very much into that space. She's business like there's no tomorrow. So yeah, I think she took after my mom. She's quite good. She's quite gifted. A lot of things that you see is it's all her. She's really really gifted. Wow. She's good. She's very, very good in that space.
I love that.
So I think that just time and chance, basically place once where I am, and we say this environment, right? Environment, So I'm always trying to buy something. I'm always trying to sell something. I'm like the cheapest person you will meet on planet Earth. Somebody meets me and said this thing is $500. I'm like, okay, I'll be right back. If you selling for $500, that means you bought it like for $4. That's why you're selling it to me for $5. So I'm going to find where they sell it for $4. Right. So it's, but all of that is just because, of the place I grew up and whatnot. I think our environment, basically, my environment played a vital role in that.
We talk so much about that. And so tell us about your books. You've written 7 books and you published a couple of them. So this book, this is very interesting. It's also Web of Shadows. What's the idea behind this book?
I met a young lady in Benin, Nigeria, and she told me her story. Okay. It was one of the most heart-wrenching stories you ever hear. At age 16, she was basically trafficked out of Benin, Nigeria, into Italy. And so this book is chronicling her journey through Agadez in Niger, all the way through Tripoli in Libya, and then, crossing the Straits of Gibraltar, and then into Europe. And so that's her journey. It reads more like you've watched 24, of those movies. It's quite haunting. And I think that this book changed me.
Wow.
Yeah, the book changed me. And the reason for that is because to be able to tell a story like that and to really be faithful and committed to telling that story and really trying to be able to pull in the reader, I had to go into places in my mind that I was very uncomfortable going. And so that actually got me to check myself, because it's a time when you begin to develop certain ideas. And if you're not careful, you will begin to believe them. And that can be quite dangerous, because then you start thinking of things that you should not be thinking. So it was quite traumatizing for me, even writing the book. But I tell you the honest truth, I dare you to read a page. Yeah, I believe me. I think this is one of my best work ever.
Yeah, great job. Yeah, I started listening to it. I listened to.
Oh, and there's an audio version of it also with
Audible.
Audible. Yes, an Audible on Amazon with the great voice Zina Basame. I think that there's been no other person who could have done this work like her. I think she's incredible, and I owe her greatly.
Yeah, she did a great job. I love the Audible.
All right.
So this is very exciting, though. So let's talk about maybe your challenges, right? In entrepreneurship, you've done business, you're highly educated, high level, and you've written a couple of books, and this is so impressive. And the young person, someone watching right now out there, is like, you sound very successful, and like, okay, what are the challenges? They're asking, okay, what are the challenges? What was that rock bottom in your life? And what exactly did you do to actually come out of that valley?
Life is full of rock bottoms, man. And the reality is that I don't think that there's any mountain anywhere. I think that we're perpetually in the valley.
Oh, wow.
And the reason why I say that is because you're either entering one valley or coming out of another valley.
Okay.
So in the end, you're always somewhere. Okay. Yeah, exactly. You're always in between mountains. Nobody stays at the top. all of us are on the sides. The best you can do is just to be gracing the side. Either we're going up or we're going down. One of my dad's favorite quote to me growing up was that you need to be kind on the people you meet on your way up.
Yeah.
It's because those are the same people you meet on your way down. It doesn't mean that you're going to go on your way down and stay down. It just simply means that the way life is, you're always going to be climbing, all right, and then going down and then climbing again. So there's always going to be that continuous, constant changes that you float in. I don't care how much money you have in your bank. Life can be so unforgiving.
Yeah.
You probably might sit over there with a couple of millions and then you're hit with a disease, that your money can help you. So in the end, you really must be gracious to the people you meet on your way up, because those are those same people you will meet when things are not there. So all of us, we're in the valley. We are constantly in the valley, and there's nothing wrong being in the valley.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing wrong being in the valley. The question is, at what level of the valley are you in? You see what I'm saying? So if you are at the bottom of the valley and you're motionless at the bottom of the valley, that means you're dead. But as long as you're breathing and you see people scaling up, what you need to do is to attach yourself to somebody who has been in that journey before. You must find someone who has gone up or who is going up, and then attach yourself to that person and says, teach me how to climb.
That's coaching and mentorship.
Exactly.
Amazing.
You have to.
Now tell us, what is your favorite quote?
So there is this book called The Alchemist by Pablo Coelho.
Okay.
I read that book once every 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Pablo Coelho. So now just listen to it. There's a version on YouTube by Jeremy Irons, the British actor. So I just listened to the book now. Okay. There is a quote in that book, which is a reoccurring quote in the book. It says, when you want something bad enough, the whole universe will conspire in your favor to give it to you.
Very true.
And what that means to me is that once you become hungry and desperate for whatever it is that you're looking for in life, heaven has no choice but to say, if this is what you want, take it.
And what do you have to say to somebody watching this and he knows exactly what he wants, but it comes with a lot of tests from God? Like, do you really want this? Do you really? And then you go through a lot of challenges and difficulties. Like somebody could be watching right now at that stage. They really want it too badly, but they are almost at the point. Do I really need it again?
No. Well, by the way, God tests nobody. There's no test anywhere. The reason why you don't have it when you're supposed to have it is not a test. It's simply because you are not ready for what is it that you're asking for.
Oh.
And the reason is because I sincerely believe that when you are gifted and you are desiring and you're ambitious about something, whatever you get is not for you alone.
Absolutely.
So that means you opt to develop yourself to have certain people in your space that will become partaker of this gift that you have. Otherwise, you will be gifted, and so what?
Let the Frenchman will say. So, what's your favorite book in the Bible?
Oh boy, I think that Hebrews. It's
Hebrews.
Yeah,
oh,
Hebrews.
Okay.
Hebrews Hebrews seems to be one of those books that basically. And the reason for that is because I'm quite philosophical in my outlook. And when you look at somebody like Paul, who is a Greek, who is a Jew by birth, and then a Greek he became a Greek by citizenship, who is quite prolific. He is a student of one of the greatest theologians that ever lived, a man called Gamaliel. And then he is quite philosophical in his presentation, because if you look at John, if you look at Paul, Paul it's in more ways
Mhm.
talking about men like Plato,
Mhm.
Aristotle, Socrates,
Socrates.
Epicureans.
Mhm.
These are Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. They are 300 years, 200 years, 100 years older
Mhm.
than the time Jesus Christ came,
Mhm.
right? So when we look at Western philosophy, the first thing that we do is talk about Plato, Socrates. Those are the
Yeah.
guys you learn in university.
Alexander the Great.
Exactly. Those are the guys you learn in university. But the reality is that Paul is so gifted
Mhm.
in his presentation in being able to present to us a person,
Mhm.
not this idea of just basic theology, you should do this, do that. No, to present to us a person, which that person is particularly is Christ.
Mhm.
And his writings is not so much to us as Gentiles. So, his writing is basically to the Jews,
Mhm.
letting them understand why Christ is that particular individual
Mhm.
that should come or that has come.
Mhm.
So for me, I think that when I look at Paul and I look at the book of Hebrews, which it's I can't even whatever portion of the book of Hebrews in the Hall of Fame, start talking about everybody else who basically had faith, believing that Christ was going to come. When I look at the book of Hebrews, it speaks a lot to me. So I most of the times, if I'm actually have to listen to anything or read anything, I probably read the book of Hebrews and then just bask in the wisdom and the grace and the knowledge of Paul, because I think that and it's quite stupid for anybody else to say anything remotely as close to as Paul is not that relevant. The Pauline theology, it's if without the Pauline theology, there's no theology.
Oh, I love that. I think it's a book of Hebrew that said faith is that they define actually faith, substance of things, so forth, and evidence of things unseen. In Hebrews 11. Yeah,
Which is basically the Hall of Fame, Hebrews 11, yeah.
I love that. So, which is your what is one thing you love about Cameroon?
One thing I love about Cameroon.
Yeah.
So let me tell you the one thing that I can't stand.
Mhm.
Before I start about the one thing I love.
Okay.
The roads are horrible.
Oh.
So I was in Douala recently,
Mhm. and
and I did not know that the roads in Douala, cars in Douala actually dance ballet.
Oh wow.
Where in the world have you seen the car driving and then suddenly one tire is suspended in the air like the hot ride out of Los Angeles? No, it's not happening. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you're like, what? I'm looking at the whole thing. I was like, hell no, I'm going the opposite direction. But that's what happens. No, seriously. So if you're driving in Douala, and then the potholes in Douala are like abandoned gold mines. So I'm saying, so your car gets into the pothole quite all right, and then we don't get to see the car again. The car just emerges on the other side. So it's not your tire getting into the pothole; the whole entire damn car getting in the pothole. Oh. That's how crazy Douala is, or the roads in Cameroon are. But I love Cameroon for the promise.
Okay.
I love Cameroon for the beauty. I love Cameroon for its grace. I think that her untapped potential is a story yet to be written. There is so much about the country that basically pulls me, and I can't wait to be of service to the nation.
I love that.
It's a place of great beauty. When my day come and the curtain is pulled over my life, I would have loved to be buried, just like some of California's greats. Michael Jackson. I would have loved to be buried like Ronald Reagan, with the sunset, basically symbolizing the ending of my journey right here in sunny Southern California. But the more I look at Cameroon and its beauty, and I think about what she stands and where her place is, and why I have to be true as a Pan-African and be faithful to my ancestors. I think when my day come, I want to be buried among my fathers.
I love that. So, how would you love to be remembered? Like, how do you want the world, Cameroon, Africa, to remember you?
That I did the best I could.
Wow, I love that.
That there was nothing else left. That if I was a back and you shook me, nothing is falling. I'm completely empty.
I love
Finished.
That metaphor is so cool. Nothing is coming out of the
Not
bag.
nothing. There was nothing left.
Talk to the camera. Like, look at the people watching us now who will be watching later.
Mhm.
Talk to them and the importance of focus, because I believe so much that if you have been so focused in building all of these things we built here,
Right.
creating the companies, creating the enterprises and the projects, leading the people you have been given to lead. Now, this could have been possible without focus. Talk to somebody watching us right now for 60 seconds on why it is important for us to stay focused to the things we're going to do in order to achieve success, and so that on the last day and they shake the back, nothing comes out of it. Like everything has been used. Please, the camera is yours.
I have a book that is called, it's going to be out next year. It's 50 for 50. I was calling it 40 for 40. And then somewhat Johnny Tar basically got me like, man, you're celebrating 50 next year. So we have to make this thing 50 for 50. So those will be 50 rules for life. 50 things I've learned in 50 years. And one of the rules says that you need to hunt with tigers. Hunt with tigers. And the reason is because when the tiger is hunting, the tiger makes absolutely no noise. The tiger hunts in the dark. The tiger will hunt in the shadows. What that means is that the tiger is not announcing what they're about to do. The tiger basically goes slow, into the lower its body so that it is just one with nature, and then from there lower its visibility so that even the animal he is in pursuit of will not see it coming. The reason for that is because the tiger is absolutely laser focused on the objective. There is something that the tiger is interested in getting, and there's nothing that will distract the tiger no matter what. So, if you really want to be great and you're thinking about pursuing something, I want you to align yourself with men who are tigers, who hunt like tigers, and learn how to hunt like them. If you're going to hunt with tigers, make no noise. Don't talk about it. Don't try to convince anyone about an idea. Become the idea. Then be that idea in real life. Do it. And then suddenly people will not have to ask you. People will beg you because they will know for a fact that you have become what is it that you've always talked about. That is being laser focused. Once you're laser focused, plan B does not exist. There's only one plan. It's plan A. And you can be that plan A irrespective of whatever it is that life throws at you. Trust me. Remember, when your days on this earth is numbered and you have come to the ending of that road and the curtain is pulled over your life and your casket is draped with whatever was your favorite football team or whatever was your favorite thing that you did in life, and your friends have gathered in your celebration to send you out of this planet, you are heading out of this place alone. What you will take with you is who you have become, because there's nothing you can actually take with you. You will take who you have become. So my biggest advice to you is this: let this life remember you for who you have become. Be kind, be gentle, be generous, stay focused, and whatever you do, remember, life in itself will judge you not on what you have achieved, but on whom you have become. That's what we'll remember. Long after your accolades have been forgotten, we'll remember what you did for the rest of us.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Oh, that's like a whole masterclass. And that was it for today, our premiere edition, Camerican Dream Podcast. And this is actually the Camerican Dream. And we are so grateful that today, by the grace of God, we're able to pull this through. Big thanks to you, sir, for accepting us to host you and for availing yourself to be used by God to bless somebody out there. You never know the impact. You never just know. Like you said, thank you for watching. We could have loved to read all the comments, but the setup cannot permit me to do that right now. I see what you're doing. I see your support. I see how you want this thing to work, this project to work. And we are sincerely grateful from the bottom of our heart. Thank you so much for dedicating time to watch despite your troubling internet connection. Thank you for dedicating time to comment despite all the hustles and the hurdles you're going through, the distractions. Thank you for showing up and keep on sharing. We see you, we love you, and we wish you just the best. And that's exactly the dream, the idea behind American Dream Podcast. Thank you so much. And until we meet again, stay blessed, stay focused, and we're looking forward to see you on the next episode. And big shout out to our friend John Eta and the JFC family for the amazing job they're doing there. We cannot wait to have you guys, share this and we make it happen. So where from here? So we're going to keep you posted as the Lord lead us. Thank you so much. And once again, thank you so much,
Thank you so much,
Dr.
sir.
Stanley, for being here and for pouring out. I feel like you should be very satisfied right now because I feel like you've done a lot. You've given out a lot out there for the people that actually intended to get this, that they're definitely going to make proper use of it and lives will never ever remain the same. And that's my prayer for you who have just watched now and even you're going to be watching shortly or later. And that's it. We love you so much and we wish you just a wonderful rest of the day and stay blessed. And bye bye.